And we are live.
Acting foolish, overdressed, confusing the crowd. You won't see me at this bar again. Happy hour, habit stars, my feet on the ground. Whiskey 7 on my cardigan. Last night, they ain't in my clean slate. And I got nothing but enemies now.
Coming to you live from the great state of Wisconsin is the Overdue Sports Team. I am your host, Will Massa. To my right, as always, is my co-host, Jake Sawinski. We got another lunch hour episode. How we doing, buddy?
Much better than yesterday. That's for damn sure. Much better than yesterday. Like you said, it's lunchtime. Not listening to Microsoft Teams ringing on my work computer. That's a problem for when we go back to work.
We got more conference tournaments to break down. We got an interesting one today. We got the SEC, the American, the Conference USA, and the MAAC. We're going to kick off with the big one, the big boys, the SEC, because I think this one has probably some of the best looks in it. Running down the betting odds and seeds, we've got Tennessee at plus 130, Auburn at plus 260, Kentucky plus 400, Alabama plus 450, Florida plus 2,000, South Carolina 6,000, Mississippi State plus 6,500, A&M 10-1, Ole Miss 25-1. LSU and Arkansas both 30-1, Georgia 50-1, and then Vandy and Missouri plus 100-1. You can rule those last two out. Missouri has zero chance.
They could be 1,000,000 to 1. They could be 1,000,000,000,000 to 1. I wouldn't play it.
Yeah, there's no chance Missouri with 0 conference wins this regular season. Tennessee has looked the part of late, but you can't count out Kentucky. Kentucky beat them in their last showdown. I'm really liking the way that Kentucky looks right now. But there's some lower seeds in here that I'm 100% looking to target.
You know who I like. It's a super long shot. You know, it doesn't have to be said. You know I like Florida.
Florida guy.
It's not going to happen, of course. I mean, I think 20-1 is probably a little too long. Like, for me to have like a realistic expectation that they could, pull this thing off. But like, they can keep up with any of these teams. Maybe I think Tennessee, they've kind of struggled against this year. I know I laid the 12.5 like the first time they played in Knoxville, and that was an ass whooping. I don't know what happened the second time around. I'd assume it was a little closer in the swamp, but I don't know if they won or not. But if you're going to part way with half a unit, I'd do it on Florida. But I'm a little biased there. I do like Alabama, though. I don't know what your thoughts are. I mean, like you said, Kentucky has been playing a lot better, in the last month or so because, I think we mentioned it already, like the Coach Cal. Oh, is he going to step away? Is he on the hot seat kind of deal? Even though he's not. Like, it's just something to talk about. But, yeah, they are playing a lot better. Big win against Tennessee on Saturday. A road win, too, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah. I like Alabama. Like I think that would probably be like my best look, just because like I don't know. Tennessee always seems to kind of get the yips this time of year, and I know like that's kind of a thing that floats around with Rick Barnes not being able to get it done. I'm very high on them this year. Like I think they're going to go to the Final Four. Like I'm very high.
I think
on
they're
them.
for real this year.
Yeah, I think I'm very high on them. I'm the same way with Purdue. Like I don't want to get this like convoluted or anything. Like any poo-pooing we do on a team is just for the conference tournament. I think Purdue and Tennessee are both going to fare very well this tournament.
Yeah,
like
I
big
agree.
Tournament. They're both in for sure, but like the conference tournament itself, I don't know. Like I said, I think Alabama's a good look. Kentucky would be a good look as too, and like a Florida might be like a hard bet for me. But what say you?
There's 2 teams that I'm actually looking at, one more than the other. South Carolina at plus 6,000. That seems disrespectful to me. I mean they've hung in with Tennessee twice. I like them a lot, and at plus 6,000, that's a pretty solid bet in my book. They've shown that they can beat pretty much any team in the conference. Obviously, they've laid some duds, like they lost to Georgia at home. They only beat Missouri by 2. So there's some inconsistencies there, but I really like that team. Like I'm really high on South Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about them, but
Well,
I'm a big fan.
I was gonna let you finish your thought, but like you know me pretty well when I bet like the number means a lot to me. And like this one's kind of weird because typically you think, oh, that's a big number for like how good they actually are, but it's almost like so big, like it's worth it. You know what I mean? Like I plus 6,000 is egregious. This team was ranked all year, and like they've been pretty good, and like not just winning the games, but like they've been good to bet on too for the most part. So it kind of sounds, like I'm talking out of the other side of my mouth, looking at lines and then being like, "Oh, South Carolina is probably not a bad bet." Like, I don't think they're gonna win, but it's almost like too good to pass up. Like in the off chance that like the market, hangs a bad number or the books hang a bad number and they win it. Like, would you rather lose the money on a plus 6,000 long shot or be on the sidelines watching it happen? So like, I wouldn't play that. Like, I just don't think that. Like I just don't think that's going to happen. But like, I wouldn't be like, no way. You know what I mean? It's like almost too good to be true, too good to be true. It's like double. You know what I mean? Like, there's a window for me, right? Like, if a good team's super long, like you get the message, like what the line's telling you, but like you almost ignore it. You know what I mean? I think that's just too long. Like
Yeah,
it's worth losing, a sprinkle on that, I think.
yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that. I feel pretty similarly about Texas A&M at plus 10,000. They have been disappointing in my opinion. Like I coming into this year after last year, I was like, this team is going to be really good. They lost in the SEC tournament finals last year to Alabama.
Yeah, kind of a
Um,
team of destiny thing. Yeah, they were. I was
yeah,
high
like
on them too, but
yeah, I really
disappointed.
thought they were going to put it together this year, and they really haven't. And even of late, they've been not amazing. They've won their last two against Mississippi State and Ole Miss and Georgia, or the last three, but they lost the two before that to South Carolina and Tennessee. I still like them. Again, I think they're one of those teams that, like, I think you summed it up pretty well. Like, would you rather lose the money sprinkling a team that is capable or just sitting it out and maybe they do make the run and kind of feel like an idiot for not playing it? But those are the two that I would look at down the list. I think Florida is also a solid bet. Like they can hang in with any of these teams. When it's all said and done, I really think we're going to see Kentucky and Tennessee. Kentucky is starting to put it together. They're a scary team. Not a team I would want to play in March
No,
right now.
but like, would you be shocked if they laid a dud? You know what I mean? Like, you
No,
just don't
not at
know
all.
what you're gonna get out of them a lot of the time, and it's kind of a lot of these longer teams. It's like outside of like Tennessee's probably been the most consistent. And I mean, just the way Alabama plays leads to inconsistency because, they do that new analytic style of basketball where it's only 3 pointers and layups. So, like, obviously, the inconsistency is going to be present there. But all of these teams are a little bit inconsistent. They all play pretty fast, minus South Carolina, I would say. And a couple of the teams kind of slow down a little bit too. But, like, the big hitters can play pretty fast. Tennessee's got the best defense in the conference by far, I'd say. But I don't know. Like this is a tournament that I could see weird things happening. But I mean, Vanderbilt, Mizzou, and probably I'd say Georgia aside, like
Georgia.
I
Yeah.
could like even a team like Arkansas, like they've been wildly disappointing too. Like Musselman just really hasn't gotten that good transfer class he's gotten to come in to really put it together. But even a team like them, what are they listed at? Probably 150 to 1.
They're Arkansas is 30 to 1 plus
Oh, they're even
30,000.
that short. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
See, now to me that looks like it's a little short because they've been pretty bad all year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't say bad, but like in conference play, they've been pretty bad. Like up and down, it seems like. I mean, I think they opened conference play like on 4 or 5, 6 game losing streak, and they kind of been playing better as of late. But like they'll play Kentucky well, and then they'll go lose to LSU or something stupid like that. So you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I feel like that Arkansas Texas A&M, South Carolina, Florida type area and the betting lines, the betting odds, I feel like they can go on a run. But I think you said it pretty well too. Like I'm assuming Tennessee is going to go to the championship. Winning it, I'm not sure, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of value that you can look at even if you don't hit the bet. That's how I feel about it. Like there's just the way I say, I just don't think this one's gonna be chalky, but like the odds are saying it is. Like it's very strange to me. It's tough for me to get a really good read on what's gonna happen in this tournament.
Yeah, and I like Auburn as a team, but I don't think they're going to be the ones to win.
Oh,
this
how
thing.
could we forget about Auburn? Yeah, what are they at? Like 4
plus
to 1?
260.
Oh, 3 to 1? Okay. I mean, they're good too, but like they're kind of that one team that really seems to have their struggles when they're not at home. You know what I mean? And that kind of you're on a neutral site. That's big too. Like they're good. Don't get me wrong. How could we forget about them? Like they're a viable option too. Of course, like that doesn't need to be said. But I mean, for me, I like looking at the longer price ones just because, like in my experience, a lot of the times the favorites don't end up winning. Like you saw it all the way through for the most part. Like even Missouri Valley was a conference that we thought it would be Drake and Indiana State, and it was. You have your, the occasional, oh, this one seed will make it, but like you never really know. Like you don't know what's going to happen. So I tend to look there, in that 200 to 800 range, and sometimes it's tough when you don't have any. You know what I mean? Like I like to look plus 300 further just to see like, hey, maybe they're being overlooked or they're not priced correctly. They've been playing a little better than the surface shows, but like this kind doesn't have that. Like it's, you have your 3 or 4 at the top and then it goes all the way to Florida at like 20 to 1. I don't know. Like it's tough for me to get a good read on this conference too.
But. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of the lower teams that like I'm out on though. Like Mississippi State brings decent odds, but it's not them.
I'm not. Same with Ole Miss.
I was just about to say, just same with Ole Miss.
Ole Miss too. Like good skipper. Let's not go into the what he did versus what happened there thing. Sopranos blow up thing, whatever. Dating myself there, but yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not high on them either. Like they came out hot out of the gate. I don't think they really played anybody in their out of conference schedule, and then like they've kind of limped along through SEC play. So I'm not too high on them either. But I mean, I don't know. Like I'm a huge fan of like the long shots, definitely, but like I can't get myself to do South Carolina. It's 6,000 is just too long. I don't know. It's a little weird to me. But like I also don't think Florida's gonna. I could see Florida losing to like Vanderbilt. You know what I mean? Like they're so inconsistent too. I don't know. This one might be chalk. Maybe I've talked myself in a circle, and it's like, oh yeah, maybe it's going to be the top 4. I don't know. I don't have a good read on the SEC.
Yeah, it's been a weird conference for sure, especially those top teams. Like I was out on Kentucky like a month ago, but it seems like that's when they put it together. Like when everyone's like, oh, okay, like they're not that good, and then they start putting it together and they just
got healthy and
started
playing a lot better.
They're playing a lot better since they lost to Gonzaga. They lost to Gonzaga at home, I'm pretty sure. Since then they've been really good.
Yeah, minus that one against LSU. That was kind of I mean they didn't play well, but that was kind of a fluky ending. Kid throws up a contested 8-foot prayer and it goes in somehow. That was a little fluky of an ending, but like they don't get me wrong, they played like really bad. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just the rest of the conference is really, really, really lopsided in price. So
yeah, I agree. I think realistically it's Tennessee or Kentucky. Auburn might
be the most bang for your buck though. And it sounds weird saying it's like 3 to 1.
Yeah.
But like they're the best team with like, price considered, like would you feel comfortable betting on Tennessee as a favorite at
I mean, they're
130.
plus odds, plus 130.
Yeah, like no, I wouldn't. Like I would like I don't know, like I like the upside too, and it's not like you're gonna hammer this thing or I mean by any stretch of the imagination. Like Auburn might be your best value play. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's kind of how I would approach it. If you're not going to take the top 3, I would look at Florida, South Carolina, and A&M. I wouldn't look at anybody deeper than those.
Oh, deeper than that? No. I do like
No,
Alabama though. Would you say they were like 4-1,
plus
5-1?
450. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I think Alabama would be a good look there too, but too inconsistent for me personally. But
I agree. I just don't. I've said it so many times in these shows. I just don't like that style of play to rattle off that many games in a row. Like the odds that they score 100 points in 4 consecutive games to win this thing, I just don't see it.
yeah, they're poor defensively too because they'll score 100, but they also give up 95.
Yeah, that Arkansas game that they just played in, they won like 111 to 102.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like
Yeah, so it's like
there's no defense there either. Like Tennessee can get up and down if they're hitting shots, but at least they're comfortable playing their typical in the mud kind of style where they win 52-50. Like they can at least do that. I don't think Alabama can.
no, not at all. Yeah, if you limit Alabama to like under 80 points, they're probably not winning.
No.
Any more closing thoughts on the SEC?
No, this every year this conference kind of gives me fits. It just I don't know. Like I said, I think Auburn, Alabama, and Florida would be my favorite looks, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if it was chalk all the way either. But
Mhm.
it's like Texas A&M probably gonna win 2 games. I'd have to imagine. Like
Yeah.
I could see Ole Miss doing the same thing. I could see South Carolina doing 3 or 4 games. I could see Mississippi State winning 2 or 3 games. Guess you'll just have to see. Maybe take that long shot that you like on South Carolina and get out of it, third round.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I'm leaning. Moving on to the AAC, the American Athletic, we've got South Florida as the 1 seed, plus 500, Florida Atlantic plus 185, Charlotte 15-1, UAB 16-1, Memphis plus 500, SMU plus 400, North Texas plus 850, East Carolina 80-1, Tulsa 150-1, Tulane 80-1, Temple 500-1, Wichita State 90-1, Rice 500-1, and UTSA 1,000-1. It's going to be hard not to back FAU here, and we touched on this. Like they seem to get their struggle out, like kind of in that early part of conference, like where it seemed like every single game they were on the ropes, regardless of who they were playing. But it's almost the same team as last year. Like it's a Final Four talent team. Like it's a very good team. Memphis scares me as like if you're one of the top seeds, like I would be terrified to play Memphis in this thing. Even North Texas, I like they'll staple to the floor in a couple of these games. Plus 850 isn't a horrible look for North Texas.
No, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like this conference is a little unusual this year, where you have like 4 or 5 legitimate teams that could get out of this conference, right? And like North Texas isn't like to me, anyways, it doesn't seem like they're the same kind of team that won the NIT last year, right? They seem to be able to score a little bit this year. Like just betting last year, they were always like a religious, bet they're under. Don't worry about it. Look, in 3 hours, you'll be good. It doesn't seem like that's the case anymore. It seems like they can get up and down the court a little better. Maybe that's a bit of, the caliber of competition they're playing now, like with FAU and USF emerging and Memphis being, Memphis. Maybe they're forced to play a little faster and the defensive focus is still there, but like all these teams can, in the top 4 or 5, and I could see any of these teams getting out. I would be hesitant to bet USF though.
I
They've
would
kind
be
of
too.
been like a public darling this year. It seems like they always come through no matter what kind of style better you are. Like if you like to fade, if you like to do those nasty plays like me, it seems like they just stick it to you regardless. They just seem to keep on winning. But then again, it's like I wouldn't be shocked if they're playing Memphis in the final. You know what I mean? Like they're a good team and
Yeah.
kind of came out of nowhere too. Like they were okay last year, don't get me wrong, but like I think is this that coach's first year here?
Yeah, he came over from where did he come over from? Um,
It was a smaller school, I know that.
yeah, they were like inconsistent. Like Raheem came from
Yeah, I know
where
who
did he
he
come
is. I
from?
can't pronounce his name because I'm
Yeah,
uncultured
Abdur Raheem.
swine. Yeah, I know he played for the Grizzlies for a long time, but
Yeah, he's a good skipper too. I like him.
hmm yeah, he's got
But like
something
that's a
going
team
there.
like they lost to Central Michigan early on. Like that
Yeah,
team like
just
and they've
growing
come on late.
pains.
Like they beat
Yeah.
FAU. Like they've got good talent. I like what they've done. But yeah, I think you're right. I think there's like 6 viable options in this. Betting wise, I would look at Memphis or North Texas. But again, like would not surprise me in the slightest to see FAU put it together and win it. Like it seems like they were kind of like in coast mode, like get us to March mode early on in conference and
Yeah,
just
that's
kind
the
of
illusion I
asleep at the
got
wheel.
too. Hmm.
Yeah, they were asleep at the wheel for a lot of those games, and now that it's time, like I think they're just going to turn it up.
It could be, but it could also be like a point of like, hey, that doesn't cut it. Like you got to focus all the time too, and you slip up. Like they're gonna be playing in March. Like even if they don't
Yeah.
win this tournament, they've been. I mean, they were like as high as 10 this year, I
Hmm.
think. Like, and they played a pretty good schedule too. Like last year, they kind of came out of nowhere and surprised everybody. But this year, like they've had the attention on them all year long, and it's a totally different process of being that kind of scrappy underdog. Like, hey, nobody knows about us, nobody thinks we're anything. Like that's a totally different mentality. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they slipped up either. So, I would be a little weary on just taking them at 2-1. They should win it, but I don't know if they will. And like they've been playing well down the stretch, but like you kind of mentioned, like every game has kind of had a close call too. Like it doesn't seem to me like a lot of times they play 40 minutes. You know what I mean?
No.
Like even against Temple, like I bet an over in like a Temple FAU game like a month ago. And it's like they'll get up to a 15, 20 point lead and all of a sudden they don't score for 10 minutes. I mean, that's like exceptionally bad, but like they'll go through little ruts and even the games that they do win. Every team does, but it just seems like that's a consistent thing when I watch them. Like that's a team I haven't bet on very well either because of that. Like you're laying a bigger number and then they go cold like when you need
They've
them to keep
been
scoring.
really bad against the spread this year.
Yeah.
Coming into Saturday against Memphis, they were 14 and 16 ATS. I know they covered against Memphis, but I
Hmm.
mean they're a 500 ATS team this year, and so I think part of it is like the betting perception of them. Like you might,
Yeah.
but it doesn't even feel like they were a 500. Like it seemed like they never covered.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean that's not indicative of how they're going to perform because it
No.
doesn't matter because all they have to do is win. But I wouldn't be shocked if you see FAU -2. Like I would be inclined to believe that they're not winning that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everyone's going to be looking at USF, FAU, and Memphis.
Hmm.
Those are
Yeah.
going to be. I would be surprised if you saw a different ticket. Maybe someone's brave enough to lay a North Texas future, and I think they can. But I don't know. Like I wouldn't bet FAU. Like
I wouldn't either.
who's second?
The second favorite betting odd is SMU as the 6 seed plus 400.
And that I think they're quietly kind of really good. I think I like them.
Honestly, I haven't watched them this year. Like that's not a team that I've really gotten eyes on.
I bet
Um,
on them a few times, and they've been okay to me. Just
yeah.
headspace wise, perception wise. But like that's kind of an under the radar team for being plus 400. I kind of like that look.
Yeah, I mean they've got good conference wins. They split with Memphis in the series. They split with UAB. Did they split with FAU? They lost FAU once. But like they've lost to Arizona State, they lost to Dayton, they lost to Wisconsin, lost to A&M. So like they've played solid teams.
Yeah, they have a good schedule, and like I
Yeah,
think they played a couple of them close. Losing to ASU is kind of tough because they're really not good. But
no.
they
But
played
in Tempe,
Wisconsin for a little bit. Like I think they ended up losing by like 10
they
on a
lost
rock
by
fight.
they lost by 8. Um, at SMU.
Yeah.
They lost by 2 to Dayton. So like they definitely have played the caliber of team. You know who I think is going to draw attention that I don't really like this year? It's a very different UAB team, but at 16-1 in
Yeah.
the 4 seed, like
No.
I think that's
I
going to
don't.
draw eyes. I wouldn't take it. It's
Mhm.
just, I mean, it's not the Jelly Walker UAB team from last year.
No. I
So I
don't
would
even
avoid
know.
them.
I don't even know if they're even on anyone's radar. Like they'll play good for a half and then just like completely fall apart in the second half. I know that
Yeah.
Memphis game, like was that last Sunday or the Sunday
Yeah, they were up
before?
by like 18 at the
And they
break. They were up as
lost by
money.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they gave up 60 points in the second half and didn't even
Yeah.
cover. They were like 8-point dogs and they didn't even cover.
Yeah, they lost by like 20, didn't they?
Yeah, they got smoked.
Yeah, so like I haven't been very high on them either. So it's like guess we'll see. But I think I talked myself into that. I think I like SMU. I could see
SMU.
like an SMU Memphis final.
Yeah, I could
Yeah,
see that 100%.
I think Memphis is going to have a little bit of swagger
I
going
think so
down
too.
too, just because of the way like they lost the tournament game last year. Cause I mean, let's be honest, FAU is an awesome story, but like they shouldn't have been there. That was rat piss officiating in that round of 64 game. They had no business making it out of that game. They should have lost that game, but they took they took advantage of that opportunity. So kudos to them, but like they shouldn't have been there. Maybe that'll play both ways too. Maybe they'll be a little more fired up because it's like I don't think they think of that as fluky, but like I do. Like I
Yeah,
watched the game, like that was a little fluky. Like I don't think that should have happened, but it did, and that's the way it is. But Memphis is gonna have a chip on their shoulder, and like if you watch them play, they always do.
yeah,
They just play that way. So I wouldn't be shocked if Memphis wins this whole tournament. I do like SMU though. I think I talked myself into that.
I like it. Yeah, I'm leaning Memphis or North Texas as the long shots. I
I
don't really
mean,
like South Florida.
I just think they're a little too public. That
Yeah,
well, I mean, it's not like you can really see splits for conference tournament futures, but like they've been pretty public all year. I'd have to imagine the public would be all over USF, and I don't think that's going to be the case.
yeah.
But you never know. I mean, there was a miracle out of this conference last year, so would you be shocked to see another one? I don't know.
No.
Yeah, that's my endorsement though. SMU, watch them lose the first round.
That's the American. Let's head over to Conference USA. We've got Sam Houston State plus 500, Louisiana Tech plus 115, Western Kentucky plus 475, Liberty plus 450, UTEP 12-1, New Mexico State 65-1, Middle Tennessee State 65-1, Jacksonville State 25-1, and FIU 150-1. This one gave me some fits looking at. I mean, the discrepancy in lines is pretty telling. I mean, Louisiana Tech is the 2 seed plus 115, and then the 3 seed Western, the next closest betting odds team is Liberty plus 450. And I don't like Liberty this year, really. They went through an abysmal stretch in there. I'm not a big fan of them. They're really good at home, but this is a neutral site conference tournament as well. I would look to Western Kentucky. I think they have the best path to the championship game. I think they can beat Louisiana Tech in that round 2 game, assuming that, Western Kentucky and Louisiana Tech win game 1. And then you got Sam Houston State on the top, who's been pretty impressive this year. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Sam Houston State's kind of been a name that I've heard all year about being like pretty good, quiet, pretty good. And they're a team you don't think of being good at anything. But yeah, they've kind of intrigued me a little bit as well. Like, I mean, you said they're the second longest.
They are
I know
no,
they're the one
they're the
seed.
1 seed, but they're the 4th favorite betting odd as
Oh,
the 1
okay.
seed.
So, yeah, maybe that's a little too good to be true. But Louisiana Tech's good too. Like, I
They
mean,
are good.
they handle business for the most part. FIU and anyone longer than like what's the other one? UTEP. Yeah, don't worry
UTEP is
about
the
that.
5. I wouldn't look at anybody.
Yeah, don't.
I
It's gonna.
don't like
This one's gonna
UTEP.
be.
New Mexico State is only good at home.
Yeah, this one's gonna be pretty chalky. I'd have to imagine. Like I could see a 2-3 being in a championship game.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like if you like a long shot, for this tournament, I'd say like Liberty, but that would be about it. Or Western Kentucky, like you said. Any four of those teams will probably be in a championship game. I don't think you're gonna get a Cinderella here because FIU is atrocious.
They're really bad.
UTEP's really bad as well, but I don't even know the rest of the teams in the conference. I don't really care. I hate Conference USA. Back to my college football Tuesday night giving away my money. I hate Conference USA. But yeah, I'd be inclined to look at like 2 or 3. The 2 or 3 seed in this conference would be my prediction to win this one. Just Sam Houston being priced not as the favorite, like you said, 4th odds on favorite, being the 1 seed. Yeah, maybe not. But wouldn't be shocked if they did it either. So
yeah, I agree. I'm looking at Western Kentucky just because I haven't been impressed with Liberty from the couple of games that I've watched them in conference play, some of those late night games they play. I'm going to look at Western Kentucky in this thing. I think Louisiana Tech should handle business against Middle Tennessee in round 1, but Middle Tennessee has the ability to fuck this conference tourney up.
I think they were like they went on a conference tournament run last year. I think they kind of were.
They were better last year, but
yeah,
I mean, like they might give Louisiana Tech fits. Like I don't think they'll win that game. I'd be curious to see what the line comes out as. But they might give Louisiana Tech fits, and it might be one of those games where like they struggle in game 1 and Western Kentucky just catches them. But
could be. Yeah, I don't know a ton
looking
about this conference either. Like
I don't either outside of the first 4 teams, and I've watched New Mexico State a handful of times just from betting purposes, but they are like night and day away from home. They're
just thankful to be playing.
Yeah, that place gets nuts at their home place. That's a crazy environment. Like they roll teams at home, but anywhere else they're terrible. So I'm not really looking them. Yeah, I would look to Western Kentucky of anybody in this field, assuming that Louisiana Tech doesn't win, which like that's going chalk.
They should, yeah,
they
maybe
should.
A 1-3, 1-4, 2-3, 2-4 kind of deal. Yeah.
Any closing thoughts for Conference USA?
No, not really. I'm not a Conference USA expert. Sorry.
No, me either. Nor am I a MAAC expert. That's where we're heading to next. We've got Quinnipiac as the 1 seed plus 380, Fairfield plus 300, Marist plus 550, Ryder plus 700, St. Pete's plus 500, Niagara plus 1700, Iona plus 800, Mount St. Mary's plus 1300, Canisius plus 4,000, Manhattan plus 45,000, Siena plus 50,000. I'm backing Fairfield in this. Granted, that's the team I've gotten the most eyes on in this conference, but based on scores, everything that I've seen, and I know it's chalk because of the betting favorite, but I would look to back Fairfield here. They're the favorite of betting odds, and they're still plus 300.
Yeah, that
leads me to believe that nobody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. This is as wide open as one we've talked about. Clearly, The favorite is plus 300. It's a 2 seed. So, anything goes here. This conference is goofy. It's unpredictable. Like the bad teams, like I bet on Manhattan the other night, they steamrolled Iona. Iona's not going to do it this year. I'm pretty certain that's the thing. Everyone's going to think, oh, Iona made the tournament last year. Well, it's a totally different team. Most of the team left and Rick Pitino's not there anymore. So Don't worry about Iona. I would put a lot of money on them to lose if it was feasible to do so, but you can't. I don't know. It's just like, is this a neutral site game as well, or neutral site tournament as well?
Yep, it's in Atlantic City.
Where the hell's Marist? I like that team. I don't even know where Marist is located, but I like Marist. I don't know why. Red Foxes, give me them. I want them.
They're a decent group, honestly. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see them win this.
Rattle off a couple, yeah. I mean, Quinnipiac, excuse me. I'd say it like, Quebec. No one says Quebec that I've met anyways. But Quinnipiac and Fairfield are actually 2 solid teams from this conference, and them being plus 300 and plus 350, 380, whatever you said. That leads me to think that they're not winning this tournament.
I just like don't honestly. Marist might be the best look.
No, I've
don't know who
bet
else.
on
Like,
them multiple times this season, and like they're not flashy by any stretch of the imagination. Like they might average 54 points a game. They are brutal on offense, but like they make the other team brutal on offense, and all you got to do is score one more point than the other team that night, and they can do that. Now, like if Fairfield draws them and they're in a boat race, no chance. But one of those two, stumbles. This thing's wide open. This is a wide open tournament, if you ask me.
very much, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I don't like St. Peter's at all this year.
No, with them being that's
and they're
another
plus
thing I was going
500
to
as the
say.
5. Like,
That's
yeah,
a
they did the
familiar name
miracle
too.
run, yeah.
I wouldn't go that direction, but like you never know. Like this tournament is wide open. Like outside of who are the two bottom ones, Siena and
Oh,
Niagara?
God.
Did you say?
Siena and Manhattan are the bottom two. Those teams
Yeah,
are
don't worry about though.
terrible.
Like Manhattan could win one, but that's it. Like, and that's just because I've bet on them like 10 times this year, and I think I'm profitable on it. But yeah, discard those three. Like the rest of the field, I could see anybody winning. This conference is just
Dude, even
bananas.
like a Mount St. Mary's as the 8 seed. Like
yeah,
they're okay
I
at
think
times.
they could.
Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I
wouldn't
don't
be
like
surprised.
Niagara at all, but
No, I wouldn't be surprised though. Like this one's wide open. Like outside of those three or those two or three, like Manhattan and Siena, I don't know if you can make a losing bet, but I don't know if it's a bad one. You know what I mean? Like I think anything can happen here.
yeah, I agree.
I like Marist personally. I would probably go with Marist or I don't like St. Peter's either. A little too recent, and they're especially bad. But how did Quinnipiac and Fairfield do? And did they split, or did Fairfield win them both?
I believe they split. Fairfield beat them at
On the road.
Quinnipiac on the road, and then maybe that was the only game they played. Looks like that's the only game they played.
Yeah, I would. I mean,
but like they beat Yale, which is a solid win.
Like those two teams are good. Like they
Yeah.
could compete with probably anybody in a mid-major conference. Like those two teams are actually good. But if I were to pick a team or two, I would go Quinnipiac just 'cause, like Fairfield already won. Like I'm kind of nasty like that. I just kind of tend to do the opposite. And you got to put like that current game line into perspective too. Like I watched that game. I didn't bet on that. That was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I know it was kind of back and forth, and Fairfield pulled away late. I think they ended up winning by like 5 or 6, something like that.
Yeah, they won by 4, and it was tied at halftime.
Yeah, that was a really good game. It's like a Friday night game. It was back and forth. So like if you see something that's like super different than what that like the result of that game was, I would be inclined to, let that sway my decision. But if I'm betting a future, it would be Quinnipiac or Marist for me.
Yeah. I'm looking at Fairfield just again because a little bit of bias, like eye test bias. I've watched them play a handful of times. I like them. Ryder maybe. Like if Ryder gets through Quinnipiac, that's probably a good look.
How could we forget about Ryder? Like
they're the moving company.
Yeah, they're the same way. They're just like Marist. I think they can score a little better, I think, but most of their games are typically rock fights. I don't know what it is with these like Northeast college basketball schools that like play like it's 1830. Like
it's all the New Jersey schools. Like, all these teams are in New York and New Jersey. Yeah, I mean, like they've beat Quinnipiac this year. Like I don't know. They're so back and forth. I believe they were first in the conference for like a good stretch in there. But like when they don't score, like it's bad. Like they lost to Marist by 25. They lost to Fairfield by 25.
And like Marist probably scored 70 points, like the highest of the season, and they scored 50 or 45. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. When they're bad, they're bad. I feel like Marist out of those like long shots. I mean, Quinnipiac and Fairfield are your obvious ones, right? But like the rest of the pool, I should say, I feel like Marist is the most consistent anyways. Iona might have the most or like the best offense of those, the longer part of the field. And but they'll throw up stinkers too, and I know they don't like to play defense either. But
Yeah.
like that's my thoughts. I mean, I would, if I'm betting them, it would be Quinnipiac or it would be Marist. Just like, maybe a long one goes in 7-1, 6-1, whatever you said.
Yeah, plus 550 for Marist.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
that's probably
who's
the
gonna
best
bet
pick
on
in this.
I might be the only person on earth who would do that. Like, who's betting on Marist? But I'll probably be the only person with a losing ticket in my hand.
The
too, but
losing
that's
ticket.
I'm used to that. It's okay.
Any more closing thoughts on the MAAC?
No, not really. Like this one's really you could throw
It's a
a
weird
dart.
one.
Yeah, this one's open.
Well, that's our show, folks. This is we're wrapping up conference tournament previews. We've got just a couple more to bang through this week. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter at Overdue Sports. Check out our website, overduesports.com. That's where we're posting all of our blogs, records, betting picks, all that jazz. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check us out on the YouTube. We're pumping out a lot of stuff. So if you've missed some, maybe go back, watch a couple of the conferences that pique your interest. We've been doing pretty good on the predictions so far. Obviously, we've laid some duds. That's going to happen with these. Just it's March. Never know what's going to happen. But hopefully, you guys are enjoying these. We're enjoying talking down every single conference. So we're going to keep it rolling. Some of them.
Conference USA and the SWAC, when we get to it, will not be like my favorite. But I also don't like the Missouri Valley anymore. But that's a me problem. That's not the problem. But yeah, by all means, check it out. Like, we plug the videos. We love the interaction. Love to keep it rolling.
And we are out of here. You only get so far.